The ancient Stoics were not optimists in the modern sense of the word. They did not walk through life expecting comfort or certainty. Instead, they trained their minds to anticipate difficulty, not with dread, but with discipline. They called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This practice gave them a sense of control and empowerment, knowing that they were well prepared for whatever life might throw their way. Seneca urged his readers to rehearse all forms of misfortune, including exile, betrayal, illness, and loss. Not to become morbid, but to become resilient. In imagining adversity, we lessen its surprise. In preparing for pain, we blunt its impact. This mental exercise builds a sense of resilience and strength, making us feel more capable and prepared for life's challenges. Misfortune weighs most heavily on those who expect nothing but good fortune, Seneca wrote. He understood that fragility comes from naivety. If we assume ease, difficulty breaks us. But if we assume reality, that life is unpredictable, that loss is inevitable, then we are fortified. This acceptance of life's unpredictability brings a sense of peace and tranquility, allowing us to feel more at ease with the world. Marcus Aurelius would begin his days reminding himself of what could go wrong. Not out of fear, but to shape his posture. If someone insulted him, it was expected. If sickness came, it was a human inheritance. This mental rehearsal was not self-punishment. It was armor. The Stoics believed that to look ahead was to walk with eyes open. They knew the future cannot be controlled, but it can be met with readiness. We do not reduce suffering by ignoring it. We reduce it by becoming equal to it. Modern psychology has a term for this, a pre-mortem. Before the venture begins, before the mission unfolds, ask what could fail. What might go wrong? Where are the hidden weaknesses? This is not pessimism. It is preparation. We spend much time reflecting on what happened after things fall apart. The Stoic asks, why not reflect beforehand? Why not face the collapse in the mind before it occurs in the world? To imagine disaster is not to summon it. It is to shrink its power. I have already met you in thought. I have walked this path with my eyes closed, and now I walk it with them open. To be ready is to live with poise. To anticipate without fear. To accept that we are not owed ease. But we can cultivate equanimity. This is not about expecting the worst at all times. It is about never being wholly unprepared. It is the Stoics' way of becoming unshakable. Seneca once declared, "The one excuse a leader can never make is, 'I did not think that would happen.'" This is the charge of philosophy. Not to predict every outcome, but to stand composed when outcomes diverge from our desires. Life will betray our plans. That is its nature. But how we meet that betrayal, that is where virtue is tested. The modern Stoic walks through life with a clear understanding. Disaster is not a stranger. It is part of the human experience. So they do not flinch when things go wrong. They nod, they adjust, they continue. To train for adversity is not to become cynical. It is to develop a grace. The kind that bends but does not break. That flows, but does not yield its shape. In business, we refer to it as risk assessment. In athletics, it is referred to as conditioning. In Stoicism, it is called wisdom. We do not wait to suffer. We meet suffering before it arrives. We ask, what if the market collapses? What if the trip fails? What if the relationship ends? What if death comes sooner than we hoped? These are not morbid questions. They are the only honest ones. For they acknowledge what we cannot control, and prepare us to govern what we can, our response. When others freeze in the face of crisis, the Stoic acts. When the storm rises, they are already grounded. This does not make them immune, but it makes them useful. Premeditation is the secret strength of the prepared. They have suffered in imagination. So when the real test comes, they are not stunned. They are steady. Nothing is certain. Strength is built in challenging moments that demand poise. The Stoic does not wait for pain to arrive to build their strength. They build it daily, through thought, through rehearsal, through facing what others flee from. And when the moment comes, as it always does, they are not undone. They are ready. And now, let us draw these principles for the Stoic, distilled from the wisdom of looking ahead and the discipline of preparation. These are not merely ideas to ponder, but tools to practice. Principle 1. Expectation is armor. The Stoic does not count on ease. They count on effort. By anticipating hardship, they are not crushed by it. They rehearse adversity not to dwell in fear, but to walk into the day with readiness. Every disappointment hurts less when it was already considered. Every blow lands softer when you knew it could come. Expectation sharpens resilience. Surprise dulls it. Principle 2. Train in imagination. Before the real trial, practice in the mind. Consider the loss, the betrayal, the injury, not to suffer twice, but to suffer less. Mental rehearsal prepares emotional stamina. This is not morbidity, it is mastery. When the test comes, you will not panic. You will recognize the terrain. You have already walked it. Principle 3. No excuse for surprise. Seneca wrote that the one excuse a Stoic may never use is, "I didn't think it would happen." To be caught off guard is not fate, it is a result of neglect. The wise anticipate the full range of life, gain and loss, success and failure. They are prepared because they took the time to prepare. Principle 4. You are not owed ease. Life does not promise comfort. It does not guarantee fairness. The Stoic doesn't resent this. They embrace it. They stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" That shift, from expectation to acceptance, is the birthplace of strength. Principle 5. Premeditation is poise. To practice premeditatio malorum is to remove the sting from adversity. It grants perspective. When the worst comes, it no longer owns you. You've made peace with its possibility. And in that, peace is poise, composure, clarity, and the ability to choose your response. Principle 6. Emotional conditioning. Just as the athlete trains their body for sudden impact, the Stoic trains their heart for sudden sorrow. They imagine it, name it, sit with it. Not to become numb, but to remain upright. The work is not to avoid all suffering, but to remain oneself in the midst of it. Principle 7. Thought before shock. When crisis hits, the untrained mind reacts. The trained mind remembers. It recalls, "This is not new. This is not personal. This is life. And I am prepared." The shock passes, and what remains is your judgment. Guard it well. Principle 8. The usefulness of uncertainty. We often fear the unknown. The Stoics used it. They view the uncertainty ahead not as a void, but as a field to train on. Each unknown is a chance to refine inner steadiness. Not knowing the future is not a weakness, it is a constant invitation to be ready. Principle 9. Steadiness is a skill. Nothing in Stoicism happens by accident. Readiness is built. Calm is cultivated. Stability is a muscle. Every time you rehearse a difficult task, you strengthen it. And every time you neglect the exercise, you leave yourself more fragile. Principle 10. To be useful, be ready. In moments of collapse, few are helpful. Most are paralyzed. The Stoic's job is to be among the few who can help, who can think, act, and lead when others freeze. That usefulness does not appear by luck. It is trained through daily confrontation with the truth, you are mortal and the world is wild. These principles, when practiced, allow the Stoic not just to endure, but to serve. Not just to survive, but to lead. Because the greatest strength is not in never being shaken, but in never being shattered.